The Hindu Moral Landscape: Ethics from the Indian Subcontinent. We can trace the origins of Hinduism to somewhere around 2500 BCE, though Haidt pushes it back even further to 3500 BCE. That would put things roughly 500 years before the traditional setting of the patriarch Abraham. That doesn't mean we would necessarily recognize the Hinduism of 7,500 years ago. As with all religions, Hinduism adapts to new challenges, the most evidence of which was the challenge offered by Buddhism. In fact, one school of Hinduism, Advaita Vedanta, greatly resembles Buddhism. That brings up another topic. Hinduism is so diverse that it almost defies classification. The number of gods recognized varies. There are even some Hindus who don't believe in any. Practices vary, and specific beliefs range wildly. What we are looking at is a general milieu, which I hope I will not distort too much. Consider some object in front of you. I will be using the example of a small stress ball. What things can we say about that thing that is in front of you? Don't try to be philosophical or profound. Simply what it is and what are some ways to describe it. Now, is that what the ball really is like? Or really is, assuming that we are looking at a stress ball? Or is it just the way you happen to perceive it? Perhaps we can find a more objective method. We could describe it in purely mathematical terms regarding the color, size, shape, pliability, and so forth. Yet, our mathematical expressions are just that. They're expressions. They don't really describe our perceptions and only point to what the ball is really like. But they only point. We still haven't got the ball. Next, is mathematics even real? Do numbers, formula, and so forth exist in some realm, or are they just our creation? But even at that, if our ball is just a mathematical description, then there is no ball at all. Well, perhaps there is no ball. That is, the ball and everything around us is just an illusion, what Sanskrit calls Maya. There are true selves called Atman in Sanskrit. We are true selves, but true selves exist within this world of illusion, this world of Maya. Now, on to Groundhog Day. The idea of reincarnation likely predates Hinduism. You can think of it as a cycle of death and rebirth. In Sanskrit, this is called samsara. This cycle seems cool at first, but then again, perhaps not. Listen closely. Generations come and generations go. The earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets. It hurries back from where it rises. The wind blows to the south and then turns to the north, and round it goes, ever returning to its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Now, this is not from any Hindu scripture. It is, in fact, from the book of Ecclesiastes. But if one life can be seen as wearisome, think of what an infinite cycle of death and rebirth must seem to one's Atman. It is as if one was replying to the saying, "Ain't none of us coming out of this alive?" You would hear, "We should be so lucky." That, however, is the point of Hinduism, to escape this endless journey through Maya. To do this, we must understand Brahman. That is ultimate reality. And obtaining ultimate reality is to obtain something called moksha. And so, to escape to what, one might ask? And to that, the reply is to escape to that which is really real. And what is really real? Well, we have already established that our true selves, Atman, unencumbered by mere appearances, is really real. But then there is what Atman is, which is beyond our perception. That ultimate reality is called Brahman. And since Atman is Brahman in this world of appearances, you will hear the expression, "Thou art that." You can also see how the greeting, "Namaste, I recognize the God in you," fits in this context. Happiness, then, is found within Brahman, the ultimate reality. It is a call to union with the divine or the absolute reality. What one must understand is that while Brahman is one, all diversity arises from Brahman. This starts with a threefold aspect: the Trimurti, Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. A couple of things to note here. First, it is a mistake to draw a parallel between the Christian Trinity and the Trimurti. Neither Brahman nor the Trimurti are personal. Next, one might think of Shiva, the destroyer, as somehow evil. But this is not so, because without destruction, creation is not possible. Moksha demands that one hold to both the singularity of Brahman and the multiplicity of Brahman in the Trimurti. Each person is responsible for seeing that one's Atman proceeds towards union with Brahman, which is also called moksha. That is, the union is called moksha. This path is known as one's dharma. It is the set of responsibilities and duties that one has within one's lifetime. Karma is accrued in every human act. It is a sort of cosmic balance sheet which is kept where consequences are played out in subsequent lives. If you accrue good karma, if you follow your dharma, your Atman becomes more developed. You have fulfilled your dharma. You are then located into a higher caste in the process of obtaining moksha. The caste system has 4 levels and 1 outlier. These provide an indication of where one is on their way to moksha. Brahmins are the highest caste and are noted for being responsible for performing various Vedic rituals. Following the Brahmins are the Kshatriya, or warrior caste, which are followed by the Vaishni caste and rounded out by the Sudras. There is one more. Dalits are the so-called untouchables, and they are outside the caste system. Their dharma is to perform those tasks which would contaminate those who are from one of the other castes. Officially, much of the social stratification in the caste system is outlawed in India. Also, the four levels have always had a great deal of subtlety. There are many subcastes, and even these are fluid. Here are some basic vocabulary to help you navigate through Hinduism. Most of these are in height, and you will be responsible for them. We've already discussed Maya, that is illusion, Atman, the self, and Brahman, the ultimate reality. Be careful with that last term. Besides Brahman, there is also Brahma, that is without the final end. Brahma is a member of the Trimurti. Brahman is the ultimate reality. There is also the Brahmin. The Brahmin are a member of one of the highest caste. Although they sound the same, these are very different. As one moves from incarnation to incarnation, there is a sort of cosmic balance sheet. Karma is a record of what sort of life you have led. One's karma is measured by how one has attended to one's duties in life. If one has fulfilled one's dharma in each incarnation, one earns good karma and moves closer to moksha. Here you can see the relationship between karma and caste. Fulfilling one's dharma would require adhering to one's duties as understood within the caste in which one is born. Caste is not the only place where dharma comes into play. It's also involved in one's duties to one's family, community, and gods. Ahimsa is the principle of doing no harm. It can be taken to mean not to harm any living creature or human being for any reason, but doesn't necessarily mean that. There is, after all, a warrior caste. However, in some cases, one's dharma dictates complete nonviolence. In most cases, ahimsa simply means to avoid violence whenever possible, to use the least amount of violence when it becomes necessary, and to find the most just action to restore the offender.